What if your words could do more than just sound good? What if they actually converted, bringing in clients, building trust, and growing your business consistently? Well, if that interests you, then you are going to love this week's conversation that I had with Liisa Reimann, who is a conversion copywriter, a funnel fixer, and messaging strategist behind her business called 2i Copy, where she helps entrepreneurs turn unclear messages into words that truly work. I'm Gail Bates, and welcome to my Entrepreneurs Who Work From Home series, where I chat with entrepreneurs from around the world to talk about what it really takes to build a sustainable business from home. And we talk all about productivity and real life strategies and those behind the scenes decisions that actually move the needle. So be sure to hit that subscribe button and press the bell so you never miss an interview. Now, in this conversation with Liisa, she shares how to strengthen your brand voice and fix the gaps in your messaging that may be quietly costing you money. Think about that. And she talks about why copywriting is so much more than just writing words. You're going to hear her powerful ice cream shop analogy where she asks herself daily, what do I need to do to open my store today? It's a simple shift that really keeps her business consistently moving forward. And I really love that idea. And we also talk about something many entrepreneurs struggle with, and that's that imposter syndrome, right? She just reminds us that when someone says, no, it's not about you, it simply means they're not ready, right? And her breakdown of SEO, search engine optimization, especially in today's AI-driven world, I thought it was one of the clearest explanations I've heard. And if you really want to be found online, listening to this part alone is really worth tuning in for. Now, she also shares the 4 signs that it might be time to hire a copywriter. Wow. And how to use DISC communication styles in your messaging. And I'm such a big proponent of DISC. I've been studying and using it for years myself. And she also talks about a simple beginner-friendly funnel that I really think you're going to love because it actually works. There's so much wisdom packed into this one, so grab your notebook. I know you're going to take lots of notes. Really lovely to have you here on the Entrepreneurs Who Work From Home series. Welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm so glad to be here.
Great. You're a conversion copywriter. You're a funnel fixer. You're a messaging strategist. You're an author. You're a coach. Tell me a little bit about what does a normal day look like for you, okay? And where does messaging and all of that and copy and everything actually fit into your day?
Yeah, I don't think there's such a thing as a normal day. I think the only parts of my day that are normal is I wake up, I get coffee, I walk the dog. And then it really depends. Sometimes it's client work that gets my attention first thing in the day, or it's engaging with my community on school or, social media or emails. I don't really like to have a set routine. I don't do like time blocking and, to-do lists. I really wake up and kind of go with what my energy is. If I'm feeling really like low and, I'm dragging a little bit or my energy is low, I'll do something that doesn't require me to be vibrant. So I might not record a YouTube video that day, right? So I kind of decide what I need to do as it comes.
Oh, so I love that. So it's just how you feel and what's happening in the day. Any kinds of routines that you work with?
I think not really a routine, but in terms of setting up my day, I need to focus on my business first, right? It's a little bit like that. If you're in the plane and it crashes, you need to put your oxygen mask on first, and then you can take care of everybody else. So it's really that. That took me a long time to learn because I was always like, oh, I have a deadline. I need to get this client work done and out the door. And then I would, finish it and be like, okay, what's next? I wasn't spending enough time on the pipeline to get myself or line up new work after that. So really making sure that the non-negotiables are taken care of first. And a coach once told me, think of your business like an ice cream shop, right? And you need to open your ice cream shop every day. And what do you need to do to make sure your business is open? Well, you turn the sign around that you're open, not closed. You make sure the ice cream didn't melt overnight. You make sure there's enough cones and napkins and all the stuff. So that's kind of how I do it. That's my routine is like, okay, what do I need to do to open my store today? Make sure that customers know that they're welcome. And then I can go about the rest of it.
I love that analogy. It's so, and an ice cream store. I mean, you ice cream store, your ears are popping up already when you say that.
Right, right. But there's so many things. You got to make sure there's money in the till. You got to make sure
Right.
all the little things, the floor's
Yeah.
swept. So that's kind of what I do. I get up and I'm like, okay, what do I need to do to open my ice cream store today?
I love that. I love it. It's great. It looks like you have a really organized office. Tell us a little bit about how you've designed your home, your workspace to support all of your efficiency and your focus.
Yeah, you can't see my desk. I'm one of these creatives that have, little piles all over the place. What I've done is I have a standing desk for sure because I think when I can move, I don't have like a treadmill or anything under it, but I have a standing desk so that I can sit and stand as I need to. I have a really nice big desk. I have a big monitor so that I can do bigger or I can see things amplified, especially when I'm working with a client's copy. I need to see their visuals, their website, things about them, their industry. So I need to have two screens. A
Yeah.
little laptop doesn't do it. And
Yeah.
then, I like it minimal. I like it clean. I don't really like clutter. You can see behind me, there's big calendars. So I have 12 of those and they're all over the wall. So I can see the year at a glance. So I can plan out my workshops or my speaking events and so I can see what's going on. So that really helps.
Are they slate or what are they? Those big.
No, they're picture frames. So they're just like really big picture frames, glass, and there's a printed calendar inside it. And then I write on it with either dry erase markers or these special chalk kind of markers.
That's
And then it wipes off
fascinating.
and I can reuse them all the time.
Yeah. And so you have those placed around your
Yeah,
office.
they're hung on the wall, and those two are the extras. I didn't have enough for 12 on one wall.
How exciting. That's a great way to do it.
hmm
This is why I do this because all these new ideas kind of pop
hmm
out when you hear from somebody. I think that's really innovative to do something like that.
Yeah.
I used to have a big whiteboard where I'd write all that stuff on there, but I like the idea of each month is up there as well.
And I love whiteboards too. I think I'm old school. Like I like journaling and writing things down and written calendars because
Yeah.
then I have something to look at. And I was actually at my son-in-law's house not too long ago, and he has a whiteboard that's probably 8 feet by 6 feet. And it's like, oh, that's such a great idea. I'd love one. But you know how whiteboards are really expensive. And then I
Yeah.
realized I have an old screen door in the basement. So I hauled it upstairs. I sprayed the back of it white with white paint, and now I have an amazing big whiteboard.
Oh my God, that's fantastic. I know whiteboards are amazing.
hmm
Everything is so digital these days.
hmm
That, the old school of the big visual,
hmm
to me, it really gets you excited and gets your thinking and your creativity.
hmm
I love that. Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly.
And do you have any kind of time management tips that you can give other entrepreneurs that work for you? I mean, how do you stay on top of your schedule?
Um, it's a challenge. It's constantly a challenge, right? Especially when you're juggling multiple things.
Yeah.
One of the things that I've always known about myself is I'm a procrastinator, and I'm also, on the disc. I don't know if you've done anything with the disc.
I'm excited to talk to you about this because I am a disc person.
Okay, so we can get into that later, but I'm a D and an I, and they're equal parts. So if it's not fun, I won't do it. And so it's always been a challenge, like, okay, I don't like doing the boring stuff. I don't like the cleanup. I don't like the follow-up. So I have to really be on myself, like, okay, it's sort of Marie Kondo with fun, right? Like do things in 5 minutes, set yourself a little timer, just do it because what we put off for so long, for months and months, ends up taking like 2 minutes, and you're like, oh, that was easy. So that's really the biggest thing is like stop
Yeah,
putting things off.
yeah, yeah.
Do now what you can. Don't put it off till later, and that's been really helpful.
I love that. Yeah. I mean, I'm a DI as well. That is so interesting. Yeah. And I'm a big proponent of doing 15-minute tasks, things that
Mhm.
you can do in 15 minutes that can get done,
Mhm.
it's the same concept as what you're doing. So I love
Mhm.
it. It's terrific.
Mhm.
So talk to me a little bit about any challenges that you have, as an entrepreneur. And we all have the distractions but how do you tackle those obstacles on keeping, your business moving forward?
hmm I think so. One's personal and one is industry related. The industry related one was a piece of advice I got a long time ago as a copywriter when I first started freelancing and then opening my own business is, don't ever let one client be more than 30% of your revenue. Like that is just too many eggs in one basket.
Mhm.
So that has always been front of mind because it's really easy to think, oh, I just landed a really great big retainer client. I am set. I don't need to do anything else. I don't need to look for more work. I don't need to line up any more work. And then, the rug gets pulled out from under you and you're left in the lurch. So that was one thing. And then, oh my gosh, I forget the other one. The other one is, imposter syndrome and not taking it personally. That when somebody says no to you, that's not a reflection on you or your worth or your work. I mean, it might be like you might be terrible at what you do, but more often than not, it's they're not ready or they don't see the value in working with you right now. And that's becoming especially more and more prevalent and with the advent and the rise of AI, right? And so people think they can do all their stuff themselves. And so it's like you have to just be like, it's not about me, it's about them and move on. Like there's something else waiting. There's another door waiting to be opened. Go get it. Go find it.
So true and such great advice. And that's across the board. Doesn't matter what industry you're in,
hmm
always across the board, especially in entrepreneurship.
hmm
Never about you. It's always about what's happening in their life, right? Yeah. So
Right.
if that's one thing that entrepreneurs can get from what you've just shared, I think it's
hmm
probably one of the most important things to know
hmm
as an entrepreneur. Let's talk a little bit about SEO. Why is SEO more important than ever?
Because of AI. I learned a really important lesson not too long ago, and that is I was collaborating with a web designer on a web project for a client. I don't do design, I just do the words. I can bumble my way around a design. I learned how to code way back when. But when I started, I learned all the basics of SEO and HTML structure and hierarchy. And SEO is basically the mechanism by which a website is going to get found by Google, right? So there's little bits of code in the website and it's things as simple as making sure your images have what's called an alt tag. So it's a little bit of text that's describing what the image is conveying, whether that's a thing or whatever. And so in this collaboration, the web designer didn't put in any of the SEO tags or the image alt tags. And I thought that was like a standard practice because that's what I'd always done. And so what that does, it decreases somebody's chance of being found by Google. And a lot of business owners don't understand this. And so they build these beautiful websites, right, with all this gorgeous branding and then the logos, and then the sites aren't found. And so they start throwing money at ads, thinking it'll fix the problem. And really, there's just a really simple solution to give them a head start. Now, with people turning more and more to things like ChatGPT and Claude and Perplexity to search for services and businesses and knowledge,
Mhm.
you need to make sure that you're showing up in the answers.
Mhm.
So the basis of getting found in these learned large language models is SEO. It's being called different things. It's being called GEO and AEO and AIO. Like the acronyms are crazy, but it's all starting with SEO. And so if you want to get found, whether it's by Google or
Mhm.
ChatGPT, you need to start with SEO, and it applies to your website, your funnels, your Instagram, like everything.
And that's where you come in. You actually help people with that.
I don't do so SEO is a specialty in and of itself. And
Mhm.
so there are people who do this. They do things like keyword research and they are looking for what are people looking for in an industry? What are the terms that they're using? What are the phrases? What are the language? What are the questions? I don't do that part. I do have somebody who does that for me. What I do is then I take those keywords and I incorporate them into the content and the language and the HTML structure to make sure that the words on the page are satisfying both the machines, the search engines, and the humans that are reading the page and making those decisions. So it's a really fine line. You have to satisfy both, and it can be a challenge and it's a skill.
It is. Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, it was always a challenge for me, and you've explained it perfectly. It's fascinating, and AI has changed everything, right? And so,
Mhm.
yeah, I know I'm in the process of rewriting my children's books
Mhm.
and getting them up, and it's and that everything you do nowadays is pertains to SEO, search engine
Mhm.
optimization, really, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
100%. And I think that's what a lot of people don't realize. There's more and more of these website builders that promise to build your website in 30 seconds. And that's great, but they don't do that back end stuff. So, you end up with a pretty thing that's pretty useless.
Yeah. Yeah. So you talk a little bit about the signs that someone needs to hire a copywriter,
Hmm.
stop relying on AI. Tell
Hmm.
us a little bit more about that.
So, and this could be like when you're first starting out, right? You first open up your business, your ice cream shop,
Yeah.
and you are really passionate about it. You know the ins and outs of that business, and you want to do everything yourself. And so there's this misconception that if it's your business, you are the best one to talk about it and to write about it. And that's just not the case because then people talk about all these irrelevant things and don't know buyer psychology, don't know how people make decisions. So a sign that it might be time to get some help would be like nobody's knocking at the door, nobody's coming in, right? Maybe people are landing on the website, but then they're not going any further. They're not buying anything. Maybe you're sending emails, but nobody's opening them. Maybe the emails aren't even landing in the inboxes. You don't know. So all these things. So if your setup, if your marketing isn't working as you think it should, then that's a sign. And a lot of people think, oh, I must be really bad at business then, or I must have a terrible offer, or I suck. And that's where they get really depressed and dejected. It's likely not the thing that they're offering or selling or doing. It's just the way that they're describing it and trying to get people to buy it.
Yeah. I love it. And I think it's such great advice you're giving for entrepreneurs today because it's a big wide world out there. And that leads us to how you use disc to
Mm.
tailor the copy because I have, used disc for many years, many, many years. And it opened up a whole new world to me when I learned how to
Mhm.
use disc. So how does that actually work in real life? And a lot of people think it's a personality thing. It's not. It's
Mm.
more about behavioral,
Correct.
as you
Yeah.
know, behavioral style. And so you talk about behavioral messaging hacks, which I loved.
Hmm.
Most
Hmm.
marketers miss. So talk to us a little bit more about
Hmm. Yeah, it's fascinating, and I do not profess to be an expert on disc. I'm still learning, but for me, it's a behavior style and communication, right? And the four main discs, the DISC, communicate very, very differently, and they buy very differently, and they make buying decisions very differently. It's similar to, if you have a family of five, you're in
it.
one, you have four people, you're going to communicate with every family member differently, right? Like you may need to talk to your spouse about, convincing them to go to a certain restaurant or dinner or movie in a certain way. You might have to convince your kid number one to clean their room in a different way and kid number two, like all these things. You talk to all these people in your life very differently. And it's the same with buyers. So the D's They really want quick information. They're results oriented. They want to know what you've got right now and how you can buy. They don't want to know the ins and outs and the features and the specs and all that stuff. That's somebody else, right? It's like, show me what you've got. Let me buy it. Let me give you my money. I'm done. And then you've got the eyes, which is also me. And it's like, we want to have fun. We want to, be a part of a crowd. We want to we're the ones on the bar dancing at the, right? And then you have your S's who buy in a much more calm tone. They need to be safe. They want step-by-step help. They want guidance. And they want to know that other people have bought first. So like testimonials and things like that. And then you have the C's who are your data-driven analytic people. And they want to know what's inside, how many calls, how many hours, like, how does it work? Like, how many people have had success? So you have to satisfy all these different people. And typically, you can't do that with this in one message. So if you're doing like social media posts, you should really think about the communication style of that particular person and just write that post for them. Now, a web page or a sales page really does need to speak to all of them. And so I order the sections by disc in that order, because the D's, they're just going to want to see the button to buy and they're done. They've already decided. And everybody else just needs their little piece in order to feel comfortable and safe enough to buy. So that's how I do it.
Yeah, I mean, I do something similar because I've studied disc for so long. Did you know that 2/3 of the world are S's?
No, I did not know that. I know that most people aren't D's. I know that's pretty rare.
I know, it's pretty interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, okay, well, now you are funnel fixer, which I think is so interesting for entrepreneurs because it's such an important part of being an entrepreneur, attracting and getting new business and getting all kinds of business. So talk to us about what's a good beginner-friendly funnel.
A good beginner-friendly funnel is something that's really simple. And a lot of people think that they don't even have funnels or that they don't need a funnel. But if you're if you're selling something, whether that's a subscription to a newsletter or YouTube channel or an actual thing, then you have a funnel. So a really easy, simple one is something that I call a lead magnet funnel, right? Where you offer something in return for somebody's email address. And a lot of people get this wrong not because they're stupid, but because there's so much bad information and advice out there. So I've seen lots of information, lots of advice saying, pick one thing that you're really good at, like make it downloadable about that and get people's emails. But it doesn't relate to the business or doesn't relate to the bigger offer. And so a lead magnet really needs to solve somebody's most immediate problem and then just show them that you have the answers or support for the rest of their problems. So that's a really easy one to sell, to create. Create something that will help somebody with an immediate problem. And that's a downloadable. And then there's some emails to follow up with and let them know more about you, get to know you better. And then you lead them to the next step, which might be a low ticket offer. So that's a really easy funnel.
Yeah, I love it. And you've described that perfectly. And I think for entrepreneurs, especially entrepreneurs that are just starting out, that was super advice to get something up and running. So let's talk a little bit about goal setting. What is your approach to goal setting? Do you have a specific process that you do for your business?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not as organized as I should be, but I really try and break the year down into, half year, quarters, months, weeks, and days. And I really try and make sure that every day I'm working towards that quarter's goal, whether that's number of clients, an income goal, number of sales, number of subscribers, whatever it is. Could just be like, let's be consistent with Instagram, right?
Right.
And I think the biggest thing that people miss with goal setting is that they don't measure their progress. And so for me, it's really being strict with myself. And this is one of those things I don't like to do because it's not fun. is going back and looking at the numbers. How did I do? How many clients did I get? How many new followers did I get? How many emails did I send? How many people opened those emails? All those things. So it's really making sure that every goal has a tangible measurement to go with it so that I can see where I'm using my time well, what's working, and what I should just shove aside and leave alone. That said, I think there's shiny object syndrome that's very prevalent, and we tend to think like, oh, I posted this one thing and nobody liked it, therefore I give up.
Yeah.
And no, you have to stick with something for at least 6 weeks to see if you can get some traction, build the habit, see what's
Yeah.
going on. So yeah.
Yeah. So when you assess that, all of that data, is that monthly or do you think that every 6 weeks, like you're talking about?
Yeah, it depends on the goal, but definitely I sit back monthly and I say, okay, what did I accomplish? Where did I fall short? Where
Right.
did I exceed my expectations? And what did I do?
Yeah.
It's kind of like, keeping like a food journal, right? Or
I,
a
yeah.
wellness journal. It's like if you note down every day what you did,
Yeah.
then you can sort of see like, how do I feel today? Like, how did I react to that thing? So yeah, every day, like I definitely sit and I journal every morning and every night. And I think, okay, what did I accomplish? And there's three things that I really look at is like, what did I do to get myself closer to a deadline? What did I do to move the needle in my business? And what did
Mhm.
I do to make my cash register ding, right? I learned that from Sandra Yancey over at eWomen,
Right.
eWomen Network. It's
Right.
like 3 days, like 3 days, three things a day, like not a big long list, just
I,
three things.
the power of three. Yeah.
Hmm.
So important. Yeah. That's
Hmm.
really great advice. And so I know you and I really lean towards the analog world, but digitally, what
Hmm.
about any tools or apps or things that you use that you would recommend?
Yeah. So in the funnel world, like if you're selling things digitally, I really recommend a couple of platforms. One is an all-in-one platform to host your website, your funnels, your email, your everything. I use a white label of High Level, which is called Funnel Gorgeous. And I use that because it's women run, it's women owned, and the tech support is phenomenal. You're never left waiting. You're never left in the lurch. If you have something that you need help with, there's always somebody to reach out to. There's lots of training. There's lots of design. Like there's so much support, and I love that. What I see with my clients is when they don't look ahead and make a plan for where they want their business to be, and they sort of duct tape things together. Maybe they have MailChimp over here and Calendly over here and Squarespace somewhere else. And then when they start scaling and growing, it's really hard to get those pieces to work together properly. So an
Mhm.
all-in-one like that that was the first investment I made for myself when I started my business. I couldn't really afford it at the time, but I went for it and I'm so glad I did. Yeah.
And so that's all fun, all in Funnel Gorgeous.
Yep. You can have your calendar. You can schedule your social
Wow.
media
I didn't realize.
posts. It's got my email in there. It's got all my funnels, my website, my blog is in there. So like it's all
Wow.
in one place
Interesting.
contained. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's really
Fascinating.
great.
Fascinating.
Hmm.
So now you mentioned eWomen's Network, which is a
Hmm.
great networking
Hmm.
organization. So what other ways do you collaborate and communicate to grow your business?
Um, one of the first one thing that I would always also give advice, or one other piece of advice I would give is get a coach, be a coach, right? Like, so always get a mentor, be a mentor. And one of my earliest coaches told me about the value of networking and told me to go find a networking group. And she suggested a few of them, and BNI was one of them. So I
Mhm.
joined a local chapter. And for anybody who doesn't know what this is, it's Business Networking International. They have chapters all over the world, and it's a really structured networking organization. So there are some where you just like show up monthly, like Chamber of Commerce mixers, which is great. You stand around and you pass business cards. I don't do that well. I don't do small talk. I'm pretty introverted. It might be hard to believe. I'm pretty shy. Like I don't talk like talking to strangers so much. So I needed structure. So the networking group I chose was they meet weekly and there's a process and you have to pitch every week for 60 seconds. And that really helped me be able to articulate what I do, who I want to reach, who I want to serve, and who my ideal customer is. So I think that's something that's really important for people to do because when they start their businesses, they have no idea. They actually really have no idea how to tell people what they do. And so this forces you to get really good at that.
Thank you for sharing all of that about networking and the BNI. I'm a big proponent of BNI myself. I was a member years ago,
Mhm,
and
mhm,
I did not realize it was still going so strong, actually, which is
mhm,
great. And it is very structured, and you do really get a lot of leads from it. It's a very, very great organization as well.
mhm. Yeah,
Well,
and it really helped me grow my business in many different ways too, because there's all these different people in the room, right? So like I learned how to do my P&Ls and what my numbers
yeah,
should what I should be looking for, and my business insurance person is in the room, and like so everything you need for your business is there as well as getting you the leads and the clients. It's just amazing.
yeah, yeah. No, that's great. So, I mean, now I'd like you to, do you have any advice for entrepreneurs on what we call professional development? We always are wanting to learn as entrepreneurs. So, how do you continue to grow? Is it through courses, through books, through mentorship? What is it for you?
All the above. I'm a reader. I love to read. I'm not really reading so much like novels and fiction anymore. But I like to read, biographies and autobiographies and about people in the business world or, in any kind of realm. So reading is great. Definitely always have a mentor. And if you can join a mastermind or some kind of group cohort, and masterminds are expensive. Like you could drop 50 grand on a mastermind, and not everybody has that. But if you have a group of friends who are, I don't know why I did the, the quote thing, but if you have a group of friends who are entrepreneurs, make your own little masterminds. Like just structure it and like talk about things that you're being challenged within your business. One of the other pieces of advice I got early on was surround yourself with people that are further ahead of you so that you can learn from them, right? And you are the sum of the company that you keep. So if you want to be a millionaire, well, get out there and find a millionaire to hang out with, right? So people who have done really great things in their business. So those are the kinds of things that I do. I've also brought over with me from the corporate world when I was working as a corporate copywriter. It's like Fridays are my professional development days, and I don't care what you want me to do, but I need to educate myself. So staying on top of trends, attending courses, workshops, conferences, or even just like reading the current Pinterest trends book, like whatever it is. But if you don't stay on top of things, you're going to fall behind and then you're going to become irrelevant. And, as AI is teaching us, if you don't know what you're doing, you will be replaced. So staying relevant is
Yeah,
critical.
yeah. Is there a book you're reading right now?
Is there a book I'm reading right now? No, I'm writing my book.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah, no. There's lots of great books, but one of the ones that really struck me is actually a series by Jen Sincero. You Are a Badass. It's all about entrepreneurship and stepping into your power and owning it and being bold and making those decisions. So those have been really good. I've really loved that series.
Great advice. Okay. Okay. So Let's talk about you and your business now. And you have a fabulous school community. So I want you to now share with viewers more about your business, who you serve, where people can connect with you. And we'll be putting all of that information in the description below.
Sure. Yes. So I love copywriting and I love creating copy for small business owners because one of the things that I believe is that small businesses are the heart of our economy, right? And that everybody should be able to achieve their dream of small business ownership. And as we mentioned before, business owners don't know how to talk about their businesses. They don't know how to sell, and they really shouldn't. They've got other things to do. They could like to serve their clients. So I realized that as I was writing copy for people, that no matter how good it was, if their back-end systems were Swiss cheese, that copy could never work because it had nothing, no foundation to support it. And so I started spending a lot of time helping my clients fix their funnels, fix those in-between things, so like a landing page can have great copy on it, but if there's no email automation behind it, or there's no messaging to lead them to the next paid offer, or whatever it is, there's no onboarding, there's nothing, then it's going to tank. So I built this school community to help people fix their own leaks in their funnels and connect the dots because there's so many bro marketers out there. They're saying, build a funnel, but they don't tell you what goes into it or how to structure it or how to connect it or which software to use, what to put in your tech stack, all of those things. So that's what my community is about. It's for people who have ventured into the digital realm, they're selling something and it's not working. So they come inside, we take a look. There is an assessment that people can do to kind of see like where are their biggest leaks? Is it the messaging? Is it the follow-up? Is it something else? And then they get a plan to fix it. And there's a lot of community discussion around it. And then there are some upgraded plans that they can, work with me personally to build it out faster, stronger.
Right. And the name of your school community?
It's called Funnel Forensics because we are funnel detectives because it has to be fun, right?
And so we will be putting that all in the description below. Is there anything else where people can connect with you?
My website, 2icopy.com. The community is a great place to go. I'm all over social. So, as long as you spell my name right, I should come up.
We will definitely spell your name right.
That's actually why I named my business what I did, because my name is too hard to spell. There's 2 I's, there's 2 N's, like, well, what the heck? But 2icopy is a little easier to remember and punch into the URL bar.
I love the website name 2icopy. I love it. All of that is, again, in the description below. Liisa, thank you so much for being on the show today. You have given us so many great gems of wisdom, that I call them. And we will be definitely putting all of that in the description below as well. So thank you
so much. This was such a fun conversation. This is like the highlight of my day.
Great.
Thank you.
Don't you agree that there were so many valuable insights in this conversation with Liisa? Here are the 3 that really stood out for me. And as you know, I call them gems of wisdom. First, her approach to the discommunication styles. She explains how different people make buying decisions in very different ways and how your messaging really needs to speak to each type. And this alone can completely change how your content connects and converts. Secondly, she talks about the clear signs that your marketing may not be working, not because your offer isn't good, but because your messaging needs support. And so true, because if people aren't opening your emails and if they're visiting your website and not buying or simply just not showing up at all, those are signals. And guess what? As she says, they're fixable. And the third gem for me was her daily power 3 questions. The questions were, number 1, what do I need to do to get closer to my deadline? So important. Number 2, what do I need to move the needle in my business? Again, so important. Number 3, what do I need to do to make the cash register ding? Don't you love it? Simple, focused, and incredibly effective questions. Now, if you want to go deeper, make sure you listen again to her insights on building a simple funnel, her favorite tools like Funnel Gorgeous, and her approach to networking and community. And be sure to join her school community called Funnel Forensics. and then connect with Liisa using the links in all of the description below. Now, if this conversation helped you, be sure to like, subscribe, and share it with another entrepreneur who's building their business from home just like you. Thanks for being here, and I'll see you on the next episode.